Welcome back to A Game of Fangs and Thrones. My name's Hannah, and this is my magical readathon blog for Aurelium Guerra, which is hosted by Jade at Big Roast for the entirety of this week, which is the 14th of March. It's currently Monday, and story time. I did intend to do different things this week, because I am on the late shift at work. I'm working 12:30 till 8:30 this week. Monday to Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday I have off as a holiday. And I was planning on maybe going for a little toddle, a little wander, maybe go down to the little independent coffee shops near me. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen this week. If you follow me on Instagram at A Game of Fangs and Thrones, you'll know that I recently purchased my bug, my little 125cc Sinjet 14 scooter, and we were getting along quite nicely. I went for a little road trip on Saturday just gone, and unfortunately had a little accident. Now I'm fine. You might be able to tell that I have a little bruise under my chin from the helmet. Guys, if you do any kind of if you have scooters or motorbikes or even a push bike or an electric scooter, wear your helmet. Seriously, the helmet probably saved my life, and I don't think I'm being dramatic there, because this is the worst that came on this. The visor, I don't have it to show you because I don't know where my dad's put it, but my visor is all scratched, so you can imagine if that wasn't down or I wasn't wearing a helmet, this would not be as pretty. I probably would have damaged my eyes, so wear a helmet. But as it is, I didn't come off entirely scot-free because, bruise. I've also, excuse me, I'm all achy on my shoulders, but luckily I didn't hit my head or black out, so that's okay. I'm achy on my shoulders, but the worst damage is my knee. I have soft tissue damage in my right knee, and it is very painful, so I can't really walk, so that plan was... The original plan is out the window at the moment. We'll just see how we go throughout the week. So this is a recovery vlog and a reading vlog. Hopefully, fingers crossed, more reading focused. So, with that being said, for this mini readathon, the prompts are dependent on your guild. So my character Nimue is a House of the Crescent, I want to say. My journal with all the information is upstairs, and I am not moving unless I really have to, because it is awkward and it hurts. But I'm very thankful that it's just my knee that's hurt, so it could have been a lot worse. But anyway, my character Nimue is an earthling, and she has been accepted into the Guild of House of the Crescent off the top of my head. I know that there is 2 prompts for this readathon. One is your conduit, which helps you manifest the magic, and the other is a legacy, which is a skill or a talent specifically towards that guild. So as Nimue is in the House of the Crescent, her conduit is a bow, and for that the prompt was to read a book with Hunt in the titled author's name or series. I have this one down here because it's going to be my next read, and that is Sky Hunter by Marie Lu. If you saw Game of TBR, you'll know that this fulfilled the prompt of read a paperback, because it's a fluffy paperback. But this follows follows Talon, who seems to be in the middle of a war between the Kepnes Federation and Mara. Refugees flee to Mara's borders to escape a fate worse than death, transformation into mutant war beasts known as ghosts, creatures the Federation then sends to attack Mara. The Strikers are Mara's elite fighting force, trained to stop them, but the number of ghosts is growing and Kepnes is closing in, so defeat seems inevitable. But Talon is not giving up hope. She's robbed of her voice and home, but she knows firsthand the brutality of the Federation. Their cruelty forced her and her mother to seek asylum in a country that considers their people repugnant. Finds comfort only with a handful of fellow strikers who have pledged their lives to one another and who are determined to push Kepnes back at all costs. When a mysterious prisoner is brought from the front, Talon senses there's more to him than meets the eye. Is he a spy from the Federation, or could he be the weapon that will save them all? I do know that the sequel is out, so hopefully I can get to this soon. And look at the edges. They have the name of the title. Yes, I know this is probably a stretch, but Hunt is in there. The other prompt was Legacy, and because of the Nimue being in the House of the Crescent, she has an animal companion, and if you know anything about me, you'll know that any chance to get a wolf or a dragon in there, I will. Now, G did point out that anything too large wouldn't be accepted in the university. So, I'm not going for dragon this time, I'm going to go for wolf. And in the game of TBR, I pulled out mood read as a prompt. So, for this week, once I've finished my current read, which I will get to in a minute, and Sky Hunter, I'm going to mood read for the rest of the week, which will be mood reading on a theme. You can guess where this is going, can't you? So I'm going to be reading my wolf books. So I have a couple on the TBR trolley already. Again, I am not getting up to show you because I can't be bothered. It's going to be a very laid back vlog, as most of mine are, aren't they? But I'm going to be reading wolf books, so that includes The Wolf Wilder by Catherine Rundell, which is a middle grade, The Wolf Den by Eloise Harper, I want to say, which is a historical fiction, For the Wolf by Hannah Witten, which is a fantasy, and Red Wolf by Rachel Vincent, which seems to be a darker take on the Red Riding Hood story. But I will confirm them as I'm reading them. So, it's a very long, rambly storytime update. Yay! But the current book, which I am just about to finish, and it is 5 to 9, I don't start until 12:30. And that is Hidden Bodies by Caroline Kepnes. This is a sequel to You, so I can't really talk too much about this one in particular, but if you weren't aware, You is the story of Joe Goldberg, who falls in love with Guinevere Beck, who turns up in his bookstore one day, and they begin a romance. So sweet. However, Joe is a stalker and he becomes obsessed with Beck, and it is told from Joe's perspective in second person, so you almost feel that you are Beck. So it is, you walked into my bookstore, you did this, you did that, I want to do this to you. It's very graphic, very adult, I would say, just because of the nature of the story. Obviously, Joe is a stalker, he invades Beck's privacy, physically and digitally. But because you see it from his point of view, you can't help but feel for him, which is a very weird thing to say. That, you like reading from the stalker's perspective, you feel sorry for the stalker. Yeah, let's sit with that one for a while. Then this is the sequel, so we deal with the fall. Joe is dealing with the fallout of the first book, and if you've seen the show, we do meet a particularly tennis-obsessed family. Very cryptic, let me know if you get that reference. But no spoilers, just let me know if you know what I mean by a tennis-obsessed family. and they're twins. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'll probably come back to you when I finish the book, because I don't have much left about this. About this much, and I think some of that is an extract from the first book as well. So that's the plans for this week. Nothing exciting, unfortunately, but we're focusing on recovery, reading, and getting geared up for the new school year at Aurelium. So stay posted. Hi guys, still Monday. I've finished Hidden Bodies, it's right here. I've also spoken to work. Just let them know what's happening and asked if I can work from home next week, because I can't work. But we'll just they'll get updates as you guys get updates, probably. But Hidden Bodies, I think I did give you a rough synopsis of it. If you've seen the show, you kind of know what's happening, and I think the book does follow quite true to the show films. The show follows quite true to the plot. Obviously there is slight differences, because I think you can get away with a bit more in on paper than you can in visual. That makes sense, right? Yeah. So Hidden Bodies, I'm giving it a 4.5. It didn't, and this may be a me thing, not great. I was tired, obviously, for reasons that we discussed in the introduction. So I couldn't really get into this as quick as I got into you, which probably isn't a book thing. It is probably a me thing, because I'm not going to rehash that 10-minute introduction again. But I do think that when you read books, and the timing of certain things is important. For instance, I wouldn't recommend you books if you were triggered by stalking or mentions of that. There are mentions of drug abuse in this as well, so just be careful if that is something that you're sensitive to. And obviously murder, because why not? But that's not me making light of anything that triggers anybody. It's just this book is a wheel of a time, and it gets up to 70 in like 0.2 seconds. Yeah, 4.5. It did leave me wanting more. I just didn't love it as much as you, but that could be amazing. So next off, I think I'm going to have a bit of a break from reading though, but I will start Sky Hunter at some point. I remember giving it a synopsis of this, but it is so floppy, and again this fits the prompt for read a paperback and the Bow Conduit, so I'm just going to dive right in at some point. I'm going to finish my coffee. Yes, I am using travel cups in the house because I am right-handed. It is my right knee that isn't working, so I'm having to hold the crutch in my right hand. I have you in my left, just to try and get used to holding things in my left hand again. But things like coffee cups, food, things like that, I don't want to break them, basically. So we are holding it as much as I can. I'm trying to make things easy for myself by carrying things when I have to carry things in my left. I also have a jacket on, even though it's quite warm in here, because this has pockets. We like pockets. But yeah, I'm still okay. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you really. So it's Tuesday. I may have made a mistake and went to the shop, and now my knee is hurting like that. But we're just going to roll with that, because coming off a bike is not fun. So I have my knee all propped up on a settee cushion. But we started Sky Hunter last night, and on page 55, which is chapter, which I'm about to start chapter 5, and I'm quite enjoying it so far. Marie Lu has a way of blending what could be sci-fi with fantasy, and I think despite the ghost elements of this, which make me think of zombies, mutated zombie type creatures, this is giving me more of a sci-fi dystopian vibe than a fantasy vibe, but I got that from what was it? The Young Elites. That was the other thing I read from this author, and I enjoyed that as well. Adelina, our dark character in Young Elites, does remind me of Talon in this book, but I think that's just because Marie Lu tends to write the underdogs. Talon is a refugee. She is mute. Her vocal cords were damaged by some gas that the Carenza Federation released on her village, forcing her and her mother to run. Not much, like I say, I'm only 4 or 5 chapters in, but that's enough to get to know Talon. We have our prisoner of war. He hasn't been named yet, but he has just been introduced. Talon has just saved him, from execution by the other strikers. And within the first 4 chapters, I should say, we've met Talon. We know the score with the world. It's the Carenza family, and the Carenza Federation is trying to take over. It employs these ghosts, these mutated humans, to do so, and only Mara's elite fighting force, the Strikers, stand in their way. The Strikers normally go in pairs, because if you are bitten by the ghost, you turn into the ghost, and it is your partner's job to kill you if that happens. Now, within the first couple of chapters, maybe I think it was the second or third, maybe even the first, Talon's shield, her partner Corian, is bitten and she has to behead him. So this is the first couple of chapters were quite slow, because we're just getting to know Talon, but she's also dealing with grief, and because she is a Basian refugee, she is looked down upon. And when she tries to ask for forgiveness from Corian's family, they refuse, and that puts her whole future with the Strikers in jeopardy. So, I just love the cover as well. This is such a striking cover. Right, yeah, that's going well. Knee is, well, I don't think I was meant to start walking on it yet. Well, I wasn't walking, I was hobbling on crutches. But yeah, that's it for this update, I think. I'm just going to chill before I have to start work. And I'll probably see you tomorrow, because I can't be bothered to bring the camera upstairs just to bring it back down to do another update. But we'll see what happens. It's Thursday. I'm off work today. So the plan for attack is just sit, chill, read. I have a parcel coming at about between 10:30 and 11:30. That is my book box club box. So I'll probably just unbox that on here for you guys, and then the rest of the afternoon is mine because I am off work. I did manage to get dressed again. This is only fat. My knee is only fat because I have a compression bandage on, and it does seem to be helping. So that is that. My plan for either today or tomorrow originally was to go to Hive, which is an independent coffee shop on Bug, but obviously that's not quite happening today. Hopefully I'll be okay to have a quick toddle down there on Saturday, because I can bend my knee. Look, I can bend it, which is all I really need in order to write Bug, because it is my right that is damaged. I only need my left to really ride bug, because it's my left that I would put my leg out on to stop bug. That kind of, well, I don't stop bug with my leg, I use the brakes, but you know, because bug is a scooter. She has 2 wheels, not 4. So you need to support her somehow, and we drive on the left in England, so it's the left that you stick out, because then it's closer to the path if anything was to happen. But anyway, I finished Sky Hunter by Marie Lou last night, and I liked it, but it wasn't a favourite, and I was getting bored at some points. Maybe I'm just not gelling with Marie Lou's writing as much as I used to, which is fine, but I am still interested in Kingdom of Back, just because it is historical fiction and it is music, and at the moment that seems to be where I am with YA. I like historical at the moment, but what's going on with this? There we go. But the book I've started to read, because this is for the Legacy prompt, and for House of Crescent, the Legacy is Familiar, or Animal Companion. And if you don't know if you have to know, at least if you're new here, one thing you have to know about me is that I adore wolves. And in Game of TBR, which is my somewhat monthly TBR game that I play, I picked up Mood Read. So for the rest of the week, it is Thursday now, I will be reading wolf books. So that's books with wolf in the title. I have quite a varied selection, I think, and we are kicking off with a middle grade, and this is The Wolf Wilder by Catherine Rundell. This follows Theo and, well, Theodora, but she's introduced as Theo, and I'm only about a chapter in, so I'll just read from the back and then tell you what's happened. So, once upon a time there was a dark and stormy girl. Her name is Theodora. This is her story. When her mother is kidnapped, Theo must set out on a journey across Russia with the 4 wild wolves she loves, a journey that will take them into the heart of a revolution. So this is polar fantasy. It's Russian folklore-esque. I mean, I'm only like I'm only just started. I'm only just about to start chapter 2. But we've met Theo, we've met her mother, and we've been given a little author's note at the start that explains what a wolf wilder does, and the clue is in the name. So they take the wolves that the Russian aristocracy have grown tired of, because in this world the Russians pay for wolf cubs, and they treat the wolf cubs as pets, but wolves are not meant to be tamed. They don't really do well in captivity or as pets, so eventually the wolf snaps, bites someone, or the Russian aristocracy grow tired of them, so they send them to Theo and her mother, and they return them to the wild, essentially. But it is a thankless task, because in the first chapter, there have been reports of a wolf attacking the elk, and the Russian soldiers don't like that. So the Russian soldiers have come to Theo and her mother's house and basically threatened them. But in this world, at least, I don't know how true it is for all of Russia, but at least in this part, it is considered bad luck to kill a wolf. So what the soldiers have said is that her mother shouldn't really be rewilding them. It's a cruelty, but they should just kill them and tell the owners that, you know, they've released them, so that the owners don't get the bad luck. But being an animal lover, they both said no, so it's pretty much where it's left off. They kept the elk though. They kept it because it's winter and they need the food. But yeah, next time I see you will probably be when I have my book box club, and I'll give you an update on the book then as well. I finished The Wolf Wilder, and it's going to get a 4.5, I think. It was such a beautifully written story, touching in places where I didn't think it would be, and I just really loved it. Did I tell you my rating for Sky Hunter? I think, well, if I did, I did, but I'm definitely going with a 3-star because while I really enjoyed it, I did get bored. But The Wolf Wilder is getting a 4.5, I think. 4.5. I did love it, did enjoy it, it did get me in the feels, I just didn't quite connect with it. But that might have been a me thing rather than a book thing because I cannot get comfortable with my knee in this brace. But, we have book box. Now, I've got no idea how I'm going to do this one-handed, so we'll just get blinded by the sun. We'll just figure it out. Tell you what, I'll come back to you when I've got it open. Okay, so this is going to have to do because, you know, it's on a chair and I can't be bothered to go get the stand. So, this month's theme was Up, Up and Away. We'll pop the spoiler there. As always, with Book Box Club, you do get a club house invite where you usually speak to the author or authors of the books in the month. So, let's just move all the wormies. And right on the top I see a patch. And it is the places you'll go. This is Katerina Book Designs and it's quite pretty. It's like a little stamp. I don't know if I'll use that, but it's pretty. We have lovely lotion bar, rub directly on the skin, a little goes a long way. Cruelty free and vegan free. And this is by Little Heart Gifts. Can I open it? Yeah, let's open it. Oh, it's a little, looks like a little heart. I may have put my finger through it. And it smells vanilla-y. Vanilla cakey. It doesn't feel cakey. We'll just pop that back in the bag. We have shelf bunting. Oh, I don't know if you've seen it, but I do have some of this already on my bookshelf. I have the circus inspired one by the same company. This is by Pin and Ink. And it is Richard Lance, so let's see if we can work these out. Right, I think that might be Neverland, because you have the pirate ship, second star to the right, and the crocodile who swallowed the clock. Pemberley. So that one's self-explanatory. It says it right there. Alice in Wonderland, because we have my favourite character ever, which is Cheshire Cat. Right there. Or is that Dina? Either way, I think that's Cheshire. And then we have the teacup and the Queen of Hearts. This one I think is Narnia, because we have Mr. Tumnus, the Turkish Delight, and the lamppost, and Bollywood. And then we have the Shire, Little Hobbit Hole, and then the ribbon to put them on. So that will be, that's quite cool. I do like the shelf bunting that they do sometimes. And speaking of the Shire, we have these postcards are just stickies. But either way, we have the lamppost from Narnia, the Emerald City from Oz, Atlantica, and she's in the Little Mermaid, Wonderland, and then we have the Shire. And these are just postcards and artwork by Acework. And then this is intriguing me. It's a glass money jar by Sass and Bell. Oh no, that's pretty. I don't know if my camera will pick it up, but you have like a little moon with some stars on it, and then a star that doesn't have anything on it, and it's wrapped on a little tree and a bit of twine, and it says follow your dreams. When it's full, you just unscrew the top. That's cool. I do like usable items like that. And I do like how it was all wrapped up in bubble wrap as well. So we have the book, which is a paperback this month. And that's what I like about Book Box Club. Sometimes you get hardbacks, sometimes you get paperbacks, you just don't know. And it's quite thick. It's done by Chicken House, so it might be middle grade. It says on the back, for older readers, contains depictions of violence, terrorism and racial tension. So it might be YA rather than middle grade, and it is quite chunky. So for Kadia, the escape from an arranged betrothal is the sky. Seeing a rogue hot air balloon fighting against its rogue, she leaps at her chance for adventure. Kadia soon finds an unlikely ally, but Jacob is an oppressed Harvey. And Kadia is a ruling Gahadian, and revolution is stirring all around them. Together, Jacob and Kadia must decide where they belong and whether their friendship is worth fighting for. And what Chicken House do, which I really like, and I think Hotkey do it as well, they sum the book up for you. So in 3 words for Chicken House, it's exhilarating, epic, fantasy, and this is quite a pretty cover. And yep, we have a signed book plate. And this is by Anissa Marufu. And I apologise if I say that wrong. Oh, it looks like the... I saw those and I don't know if my camera will pick it up, probably not. But there are little marks on the spine, on the edges, and I thought there may be damage in the printing, but I've had a flick through and the chapters seem to have these really pretty illustrations, and it looks like it is dual perspective between Kadia and Jacob. And I'm just reading there, but it doesn't say anything different on there. But that's quite nice. I like that. So yeah, that was Book Box Club, and I think I'm going to go put my camera on charge for a bit because it's only got 1 bar of battery left and it's going to stop blinking at me soon, and then go out for a bit because I can. Well, as much as this will let me, but you know, we'll see. We are back in the more familiar setting, but I have news, I have updates. As you know, I went to Japan, and you saw that one before, but I purchased more books because what do we do when we feel sorry for ourselves? We buy books. So I have The Gifts That Bind Us by Caroline O'Donoghue. This is the sequel to Our Hidden Gifts, and it was a good book. I did read it a while ago, but it was to do with tarot. Our main character, Maeve, finds these tarot cards and ends up being able to give scarily accurate readings from them, and her best friend goes missing. So this is obviously the fallout to that. And there was gender fluidity in this as well, I believe. And as it was buy one get one half the price, I picked up another book to match that offer. And this is Dragon Rising by Katie and Kevin Sang. The fourth book in the Dragon Realm series, so I can't really talk too much about it. But I think this is the start of a new story arc. In Dragon Mountain, we meet Billy, who is an American-Chinese 11-year-old boy who is sent to a Chinese summer camp where he meets dragons. Speaking of dragons, we also have A Natural History of Dragons and Memoir by Lady Trent by Marie Brennan. From Scotland to the farthest reaches of Uriga, Lady Trent is known to be the world's preeminent dragon naturalist, who brought the study of dragons into the clear light of modern science. But before she became the illustrious figure we now know, there was a bookish young woman whose passion for learning defied the stifling conventions of her day. Here at last, in her own words, is the true story of a pioneering spirit who risked her reputation, her prospects and her fragile flesh to satisfy her scientific curiosity of how she sought true love and happiness despite her lamentable eccentricities, and of her thrilling expedition to the perilous mountains of Vistrana, where she made the first of many historic discoveries that would change the world forever. Dragons. I've seen this cover everywhere. I think it's one of those staples in Forbidden Planet and Waterstones. Stay. They're sliding everywhere now. And then we have Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is a series that's doing the rounds on BookTube. Jade is the lifeblood of the city of Jamloon, a stone that enhances a warrior's natural strength and speed. It's mined, traded, stolen and killed for, all controlled by two families equal in their power and ruthlessness. When a modern drug emerges that allows anyone, even foreigners, to wield Jade, simmering tensions between the two clans erupts into open war. So, there's that. And I have finished another book. I have started and finished Red Wolf by Rachel Vincent. This is just the dust jacket. And I think I talked about this one in Game of TBR. But basically it follows Adele, whose village is surrounded by a dark, malevolent wood that's almost sentient, and on the eve of her 16th birthday, she's taken to this wood because her grandmother lives there, hence the Red Riding Hood similarity. She's tasked with bringing her grandmother, who lives in this wood, some bread. But along the way she discovers that she is a shapeshifter. Yes, it does tell you in the synopsis, otherwise major spoiler. But she is a wolf shapeshifter, tasked with protecting her village from all of the monsters that live in the dark wood, including, but not limited to, werewolves. And it's a story of how things can change, and story of accepting your destiny and what that actually means and what being a guardian means. And she does have some really hard choices to make, and it had a really slow start, I wasn't sure about the start, but it was other than the start, it's probably 5 stars, but I can't give it a 5 star because it took a while to get into, so I'm going to give it a 4.75. And the next book, I think, will be For the Wolf by Hannah Whitney, and I will come back to you once this camera's got some charge. Oh, it's Friday. We made it to the end of the week. Yay! I've just filmed my TBR, which was a bit of a change of plan because I can't really stay away. I can't kneel on this knee anymore. But I can probably in the future, but you know, we're not pushing it too badly. So just changed my reading plans for April, which is fine because nothing's ever really set in stone anyway. I've got you propped up on my TBR trolley because I can't find my tripod. You're stacked up on top of the TBR pile, the monthly TBR, and then there's 2 books on top of that, and you're resting on me. And one of the books is For the Wolf by Hannah Whitney, which I told you I was going to start last night, and I have. I'm enjoying it so far. It's quite slow. We follow Red, who, as the second daughter, is promised to the wolf to stave, as part of a centuries-old bargain to stave off the monsters from the wood. And then, but what I like about this one is that we have our main story, which follows Red and the wolf. But then we have these little interludes which give us an insight as to what Red's sister Neve is up to back in the palace. So that's quite nice. It's dark. I'm sensing that there's going to be a bit of a romance between Red and the wolf, which, you know, it's the way it goes. And it's giving me Red Riding Hood vibes because obviously our character is called Red. She's sent to a wolf in wood, but it's also giving me some Beauty and the Beast vibes because Red is being held hostage by the prince character, and it is very atmospheric. There's a lot of history gone into this world, and I'm interested to see what happens next. I do need to catch up with my reviews at some point, ready for the wrap up video, and I also need to catch up with my reading blanket as well. But yeah, that's it for this update. Nothing more to tell you. It's Saturday, it's about 5 o'clock. I'm only just vlogging now because I have had a morning. I've had a day. This morning I went out on bug. That was interesting. I think the fall last week probably knocked my confidence a tiny bit more than I thought. But I get points for going back on bug. And I finished For the Wolf, and I'm not sure on the rating because I did enjoy it. It just took a while for me to get into it, and there were a couple of points where I was a bit bored. I know it's a slow atmospheric read, and they tend to be a bit slower because they build up the atmosphere, and it's one of those things. But the last dizzy yet. But the last book of the week, the last wolf book, is The Wolf Den by Harper, and this is a historical fiction set in Pompey's infamous brothel, following we'll watch the sun, following Amara, whose father's death plunged her family into penury. She's owned by a man she despises and lives as a slave in Pompey's infamous brothel, but her spirit is far from broken, and she's surrounded by women whose humour and dreams she shares. She comes to realise that everything in this city has its price, so we'll get reading this one, and I'll come back to you probably later on, if not tomorrow, with thoughts. It's Sunday. I'm popping in to give you an update on The Wolf Den by Harper. I've started that last night, this morning sometime, and I'm enjoying it. It's following Amara, who is a prostitute, sold into slavery basically, to pay off her father's debts, and she was moved from Greece to Pompeii and is surviving as a prostitute in the wolf den. She's surrounded by some other strong female characters like Dido. She's the innocent sweet one with a hidden rod of steel in her. No euphemism intended. And yeah, we have Victoria, who's fierce and seems to be the unofficial leader of the gang. Cressa, who's the oldest and had a son, I believe. And then we have the pimp, who is not a nice person at all. But it is quite enjoyable. It's just a story of what these four women have to endure to survive in the brothel. But I'm just popping in to end this vlog, and I hope your magical readathon, your Aurelium gear up, went as successful as mine. And I'll see you in the next video. So as always, if you liked it, give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see this talk about these, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.